NBA is suspending the season.
Officially, the season is suspended.
I think we're at the point now that this has been declared a pandemic, that it's virtually impossible to contain it.
A 22-team return to play in Orlando beginning on July 31st.
Well, we're waiting.
Dribbles behind his back, gets a pick from Nikola Jokic, shot clock at 6. Over to Joker inside the arc, guarded by Adams. Shot clock winding down, jumper, got it! That should be the game winner for Nikola Jokic.
Live from Lakewood, Colorado, broadcasting at the Colorado Media School studios, it's Sports with Staxxx and Shaggy.
Yo, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to the show tonight, Sports with Staxxx and Shaggy. We're here live on the Colorado Media campus. My man Shaggy behind the glass. I'm your boy Staxxx. How you doing, Shaggy? How you feeling?
I'm doing pretty good tonight. We got the triple slate again. We got some Rockies, got some Avalanche, got some Nuggets. Gotta love the triple slates.
Oh, all day, man. And it's at playoff time. This is as bad as what the coronavirus, how it has seemed. It has actually given us some good. It's been a little bit of a blessing in disguise, with the playoffs at least.
So I have a question. Actually, this is a question that my dad rose to me last night, and I want to ask you because it just popped up in my head. Is it easier to watch sports now with the coronavirus concentrating everything, or was it easier to watch sports back before the coronavirus when everything was just kind of at your disposal? Which was it easier? Was it easier to watch now or then?
I think, honestly, it would – well, how are you saying pertaining to, is it easier to just turn a game on?
And easier to find the game, easier to find stuff about the game, easier to, find the game.
Well, I feel like it's much easier now because I feel like you're going to get way overload of information for sure. I mean, there's really – no one can attend the games, in-person attendance. So I feel, you're going to get a lot more information from – a lot more sources. But right now, the Nuggets, they're going up against the Clippers in a battle between the number 3 seed and number 2 seed. This is I believe, their second to last game in the bubble.
Yes,
they play Toronto.
Their second to last game. They are a game and a half back from the Clippers, and they play against Toronto at 7 o'clock. I believe that's on ESPN or TNT on Friday. I'm not exactly sure on the calling card. I think it's still to be determined.
Okay, so we'll have a little bit more of that later on in the show with the Bubble Watch. We have a lot of Nuggets to get to tonight. But with some games that have wrapped up, the Avalanche, one of the hockey's powerhouses today, put a smackdown on the Arizona Coyotes, a 3-0 smackdown. And we actually have some sound from the Avs Twitter.
Unwavering. Back in February, as we prepared to embark on our quest for the Cup, this word defined our team, our fans, and the Avalanche A. It still does. But after all we've experienced together, the fear, the uncertainty, the grief, the anger, it's now so much more than a tagline. Our world has been turned upside down, but this team, the community, and you, our fans, have taken this word and given it life. The game that we share a collective love for has returned. Embrace it wholeheartedly. Be steadfast in coming together and continue to be resilient. This is Avalanche Hockey, where we are all unwavering.
And thank you to the Avalanche Twitter with that unwavering hashtag unwavering.
That's our saying. That's the
that's
saying this year.
Yeah, that's our mogul, our branding for the playoffs this year. Unwavering.
I love that, honestly. I love that. You know, you think about how much this season, like how much this year, you look at it. I mean, you think it back even then. You put yourself in your shoes in 2015. You look at 2020. You're like, oh, I want to have that 2020 vision. I want to make 2020 my best year. No one thought that this year was going to be the way it was. No one thought that this year was going to have no football, no football, but no stands and, no fans in stands, no movies. You can't go to the tables at Blackhawk. You got to wear a mask everywhere. Like,
of course, you have to throw Blackhawk in there.
I have to.
You have to.
I love my place up there.
No, man. No, so the Avs, they kicked off their first playoff game today against the Arizona Coyotes at 1:30. And, the Coyotes, they upset the Nashville Predators in the qualifying round to find themselves against the Avalanche, who are the number 2 seed in the Western Conference. Kind of a mismatch here. I was listening to Mark Moser early on this morning, and he was saying, the Arizona Coyotes could be a team that sneaks up on you. They're a physical team, kind of like an old-school hockey team, to opposed to where the Avalanche are more of the new school, the speedy, more skilled team. And they obviously showed it, putting that 3-0 smackdown. And we have a couple sounds, 2 of those 3 goals from earlier today's game.
Back to McKinnon it goes. Here's McCarr. Shoots! Knocked down in front, backhanded, score! It's a power play goal! Nazem Kadri banging away on the doorstep, and the Avs have taken a 1-0 lead. You knew it was not going to come easy, Pete, but you picked the right guy. Nazem Kadri with a huge power play goal puts the Avs on top, and now Big Val will rumble in after the draw. Kicks it up to the point. Long shot there. Save, rebound. Tip free. Score! J.T. Comfer. Timothy right away gives the Avs a 2-0 lead. He backhands it home into a wide open net.
And those were, we'll give credit to Mark Moser right there with the calls on that. Nazem Kadri with the first goal, and then JT, Timothy, probably one of the best names you got out there. Come on.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, his parents had the name of that. Like, what's his middle name? Timothy. What's his first name?
Jimothy. His last name, Blimothy.
Exactly. Timothy Blimothy.
A franchise record for the Avs. Scored 3 goals in a minute 23. Then, I didn't even know that someone else had scored 3 goals in a faster timing. I guess that this isn't even the fastest time 3 goals have been scored in the playoffs. Like, that's just a playoff record. Thinking about all together in history, I couldn't even think about how quick a team had done it prior to that. So shout out to the Avs. Obviously, this is a series they need to win. They outmatched the Arizona Coyotes by a mile. So I think it'd be disappointing if the Avs even give up a win to them. They're a scrappy team, yes, the Coyotes are, but the Avs are obviously the better powerhouse.
Yeah, they're predominantly the better team, and the Avs, second seed in the Western Conference, barely lost against the first seed, Las Vegas Golden Knights. The Avs, we all know in Colorado, they have the best chance out of all the 3 Colorado sports teams to win a championship this year. I mean, all 3 of them have a good chance this year, but they have the best chance. They have the best young, talented roster built around their star, Nate McKinnon. So they can make a push this year. Yeah,
it was Nazem Kadri, Timothy, and Mikko Rantanen who had the 3rd goal. We did not have sound for. Avs win 3-0 over the Arizona Coyotes in their first playoff game. Switching it over to the other local team, the Rockies played a game today over in Coors. Another loss. Their second loss in the 3rd game. I want to say another loss. They won last night. This is the second game in the last 3 where the Rockies have given up 10 runs. So the underperforming performances of John Gray and Antonio Sensatella has definitely been evident. When you're a team that, like the Rockies, getting on a hot start, you have the advantage of the shortened season. I don't think that giving up double-digit runs is going to be the trend that's going to help you out. Your offense has the talent it does with Charlie Blackmon, hitting over 400, dang near 500 last night.
Last night it was .487 as we were talking, and today he went 0 for 4 from the line.
Yeah, so I mean, you're gonna have days like that, but you have that powerhouse offense. Your rotation needs to be consistent, and it showed the consistency it had through the first 15 games. Just the last 3 games have kind of been a head scratcher. Last night was a little bit iffy pitching, not the best pitching of what we've seen. But, tonight I feel like they could bounce back. Like you said, Charlie Blackmon 0 for 4 from the plate, ending his 15-game hitting streak. Nolan Arenado had 2 homers, backed those in. And this is something you brought up, though. Now, imagine Charlie Blackmon, he ends the year, 400, 500. You put an asterisk over that, and I was going to tell you, man, you got to put an asterisk pretty much over everything. Everything concerning with the pandemic going on. We live in a time and age where you're just going to have to put an asterisk over everything. It's just like the NBA championship. You put one over that.
Well, here's the thing, though. Like, my only
Super
way that
Bowl,
I would
put
argue
one over
that
that.
you wouldn't put an asterisk over it is you think, what if no players get hurt, no players get sick, all the players are healthy, and you resume the play and you win a championship, or you do something phenomenal in this season? I mean, do you really still put an asterisk there? I mean, you won despite, yes, Corona, but you won with all the players still there, all the players still healthy. I mean, people are, yeah.
Oh, well, we're going to take a quick break real quick. Coming on the other side of the break, we'll have some NBA talk. And does Mike Malone sit the starters in the fourth again tonight, or does he play them like he did in Utah? That's coming up next.
Every day, across this country, hundreds of college radio stations take to the air, broadcasting music and programming that you won't hear anywhere else.
It's one of the last places where people can really be able to actually say what they want to say.
Without it, you wouldn't have a place for local artists to perform. Certain people need to have a chance, a fighting chance, and college radio is that place for it.
College radio changes the lives of those who are involved with it and can change those who listen to it too.
This is where we start out, from getting all this great experience working in college radio. It makes you want to work in real radio.
College radio means finding yourself. It helped me find what I wanted to do in not only school but in life.
So support college radio by continuing to listen to this station and supporting the students who make it happen. College radio, now, more than ever. A message brought to you by this station and the College Radio Foundation. For more information, please visit collegeradio.org.
If it's great radio you're looking for, then you're in the right place. Because at GoMileHigh.com, we have tons of shows discussing sports, news, politics, entertainment, community affairs, and much, much more.
Awesome! Totally awesome!
And don't forget, if you miss out on one of your favorite shows, you can always access our archived episodes at GoMileHigh.com on your own time.
If I'm here and you're here, doesn't that make it our time?
Hey Colorado sports fans, you're listening to GoMileHigh.com, a student-operated station live from the Colorado Media School studios here in Belmar, giving you a different perspective on all things current.
Stop torturing yourself, man! Live in the now!
So stay tuned to see what's coming up next on GoMileHigh.com, Colorado's sports lifestyle.
Showing!
Every day, across this country, hundreds of college radio stations take to the air, broadcasting music and programming that you won't hear anywhere else.
It's one of the last places where people can really be able to actually say what they want to say.
Without it, you wouldn't have a place for local artists to perform. Certain people need to have a chance, a fighting chance, and college radio is that place for it.
College radio changes the lives of those who are involved with it and can change those who listen to it too.
This is where we start out, from getting all this great experience working in college radio. It makes you want to work in real radio.
College radio means finding yourself. It helped me find what I wanted to do in not only school but in life.
So support college radio by continuing to listen to this station and supporting the students who make it happen. College radio, now, more than ever. A message brought to you by this station and the College Radio Foundation. For more information, please visit collegeradio.org.
You know what that is right there?
Lulling the baby to
You know what
sleep.
that is? Hey, Michael Porter Jr. just posted up Reggie Jackson, and that's what we do. We rock the baby. That's what he does. We got a baby on him. You take advantage. Now, Nuggets going into halftime, up 58-50. MPJ closing out the half with that post fadeaway shot on Reggie Jackson. But
hey, I'm gonna cue it to the bubble watch sound.
Oh, hold on. We're going to swing it to you, Jake, real quick.
This is The Bubble Watch with Santiago Staxxx Salazar, here on Sports with Staxxx and Shaggy.
7 rebounds for Jokic. Alley-oop, that's too high. Oh, stop! It's not too high!
And I queued in on the wrong beat, man. I forgot about our Bubble Watch introduction.
Hey, that's my fault as a producer. I'm supposed to cue it off right after the
it's
sound.
all good, though. It's all good. No, but we'll get into it, though, because, that's what we do when we got to do it, man. Here on the Bubble Watch, the Nuggets playing right now. Up 58-50 to the Los Angeles Clippers. Right now, an important game, I would say, for the Nuggets. Michael Malone would probably beg to differ because, I wouldn't be surprised if Mike Malone sat the starters tonight. We saw he sat him against Portland. We saw he sat him against L.A. in 2 games where the Nugs, I think they were tied at the end of that third quarter against the Lakers. I don't remember the score against the Portland. I remember it was very close going into that fourth. But, these are – you have playoff implications up at stake right here where if you win those 2 games, you're potentially in that number 2 seed maybe. But the way I perceive it as is how Malone he's taking things into the bigger picture. Don't want to get Joker hurt. Murray, Murray, he's still dealing with the hamstring. I don't even think Jamal's 100%, but he's a dog and he's going to come back and battle. I just think, Malone is preserving his stars for when it comes playoff time. He's showing some of that load management for sure.
And him doing that, it's just preparing the team, not exactly the starters, but these bench players for playoff minutes. These players getting these legitimate time right now and legitimate minutes and starting minutes when they never got these starting minutes 4 or 5 months ago is only going to help them out in the long run when they play in September, which is right around the corner. I mean, the playoffs literally start next week, and we're most likely, the Nuggets are most likely going to be playing against Utah, most likely Oklahoma. It's just preparing those teams and those players for teams that you're going to have to be playing against. I mean, they played a lot of them during the Utah game. Yes, down the stretch of the Blazers game, and as well as down the stretch of the Lakers game. You didn't see any of our starters, but I like that, honestly. I like to see Mike Malone giving Bol, giving Troy Daniels, giving PJ Dozier, giving these players chances when they need them and when they get them, so that way when they get those minutes in the playoffs, they actually know what to do. I mean, yes, playoffs, we all know the stage is bigger, everything is bigger, but still, when you have the minutes and played those minutes in the regular season and know what you're doing and have the confidence to do it, it's only going to help you a million times.
And I like the Bol, letting them get that, a little bit of experience. But I think you're maybe a little bit jumping the gun there that, this experience now is going to help them in the playoffs with Bol and that. I think the experience is going to help them in the long run for sure. But I still think Bobo in the playoffs and, serious crunch time, playoff time, that confidence thing is still an issue. You're playing for a lot more at stake. The reason why, obviously why Malone is putting a summer team league out there essentially is because you want to preserve your stars. You're barely getting Will Barton back. You're barely getting Gary Harris back. You don't need any more of the guys going down. You're not the healthiest team. Seeing Bol, though, out there is going to help in the long run. Seeing Troy, I don't know if seeing Troy Daniels. Troy Daniels is, but he's almost 30 and he's not really gotten any better. Well, he's just there for roster space. I want to see PJ Dozier.
But this, the Nuggets playing against the Lakers and taking that all the way down to the final shot, and then playing against the Blazers and taking that down all the way to about 3-4 minutes until the game got a little out of the hand. That just shows how deep the Nuggets roster and how deep the roster is for the Nuggets.
Now, is that
they may not
go?
They may not have the top 2 best players in Joker and Jamal Murray, but you can't tell me that the Nuggets from 1 to 12 have the deepest roster in the whole entire NBA.
No, I wouldn't say the deepest, but how much is it a credit to the Nuggets competing with the Lakers, and how much is it just terrible basketball by the Lakers? You have LeBron James, Anthony Davis, guys who are superstars in this league, and they're getting outplayed. Like, I honestly don't know if it's too much credit to the Nuggets or you take away a lot from the Lakers, because you got to put effort, and everyone knows the Lakers have been the worst offensive team in the bubble so far. So, is it a great a great game by the Nuggets? They were able to, by the Nuggets' young core, or was it just a terrible game down the stretch by the Lakers?
I love it!
And so, I mean, if we could see go ahead.
I'm just saying, I'm going to add off what Steve Carell said. I love it. You get this Lakers team that everyone's calling the best team in the whole NBA besides the Milwaukee Bucks and as well as the Toronto Raptors between those three.
Clippers?
And what?
You ain't put the Clippers up there?
All right, we'll play top 5. We'll put the Nuggets as well in that team. But you take on a top 3 potentially number 1 team in the NBA, and you give them a run for their money with not one starter out there for a quarter and a half. Like, how many teams in the NBA can say that they can go out there? Like, you think that Milwaukee can say that they can go out there without Giannis, Chris Middleton, Brooke Lopez, and all them, and go out there and do that what we just did against, or the Nuggets just did?
I think it's very underappreciated though is the coaching from Michael Malone. Everyone, come on, you want to say that he puts the personnel up there, but who drafted these guys? Who assembled this team? It wasn't just Tim Conley. It was Tim Conley talking with Michael Malone. This is a Michael Malone depth. Michael Malone has the most respect probably in the NBA as a coach. You saw LeBron James shout out Michael Malone. DeMarcus Cousins, who's known as one of the biggest hotheads in probably recent NBA history, shouted out Michael Malone to being, this is probably my best coach I've ever had. And as Michael Malone did coach the Kings before his stint, had a small stint with Sacramento before he came to Denver. DeMarcus Cousins also had commentary about George Karl, another Nuggets coach who he was not fond of. So you can tell Michael Malone is a player's coach. He, I want to say caters the guys, but he's going to do what's best interest for the team. And if it's sitting the starters in the fourth quarter and playing your young core for development purpose, then so by all means, so be it.
I can't argue there. His rotation and how he uses his players has to be one of the best in the NBA. Like, you don't see a coach use his rotation like you see Michael Malone use the Nuggets rotation and putting different players in and getting the most out of your players. You don't see that within other NBA teams. I mean, maybe I'd probably put Doc Rivers up there, but you don't really see that from. So when you look at the Nuggets compared to a lot of the other teams, the Nuggets don't have marquee talent that some of these other teams do have, but yet they still put up crazy numbers and yet they still put up crazy stats despite not having these marquee talent around them.
Come on, don't go too far of a stretch. Jokic is not marquee. He's not a marquee name.
Let me just say this.
Marquee talent
Joker,
for sure,
you don't
though.
have marquee talent. You have a lot of C and B players.
Yeah,
Joker's
but Joker makes everyone better. Joker turns an average player into an above average player. All you got to do is cut. Just cut. And that's the one thing that I don't know why the Nuggets have not been doing lately is cutting. So that's one thing that
it was working in the Trailblazers game when Michael Porter Jr. was doing it.
MPJ was like the only one cutting. And the key for me when the Nuggets get into the playoffs is you got to cut and you got to play way better defense, way better perimeter defense. The rotations, again, that L.A. game was just so bad. And the Lakers shot, 48% from 3. We got to check how good the Clippers are shooting tonight. But we'll switch this over to a whip around in the league. Some more news. Damian Lillard, back-to-back 50-plus games. 51 against Philadelphia the other night. Last night, 61 versus the Mavs. And Damian Lillard, I think it's said and done. Is Damian Lillard the greatest Portland Trailblazer of all time? I mean, you have Clyde Drexler right there, but Damian Lillard is like only 5,000 points short from Clyde Drexler.
He's going to catch that in the next year and a half, possibly.
No.
Oh, like 3 years,
maybe
probably.
2. Yeah, maybe 2.5, 3, somewhere around there. Damian Lillard, without a doubt, now he hasn't. Portland's not the sexiest franchise. It's not going to attract a big free agent name.
You want to know something
a lot of help.
crazy that you say that? The Portland is the only NBA city that cannot hold an All-Star game, and you know why?
Why is that?
Because they don't have a hotel that's big enough to fit all the teams. They don't have a hotel in the city of Portland that can hold all 30 teams. That's crazy.
Hey, you learn something every day, man. Where'd you find that stat from?
Shout out to Colin Coward.
Oh, man. No shout out there. I'm not a fan.
Hey, I mean, you hear every once in a while. You hear a little snippet every once in a while, and you're like, hey, No, I get 10 minutes and I get 15 seconds of, out of those 10 minutes, I'll take that 15 seconds.
Mm-hmm. So Damian Lillard, back-to-back 50-plus points. Another Portland Trailblazer, Melo going off, a back-to-back 20
Don't forget
points.
the sound.
But, here we have Stephen A. Smith commenting on Lillard's big night.
Do you think L.A. should legitimately be scared of Portland? Hell yes, they should. They have a lot to be concerned about when it comes to the Portland Trail Blazers, and mainly because of what we witnessed last night. See, these are the kind of things that Damian Lillard is capable of doing on any given night. Now, the brother's averaging 29 for the season, okay? This brother's all-world. I thought he was first-team All-NBA last year, and that he deserved strong consideration for that, even though because Steph Curry had missed some time.
And thank you, Stephen A. Smith from ESPN First Take. And that's him just, talking about not just how great Damian Lillard has been as of recent, but how worried he is of the Los Angeles Lakers. And, right now how the West playoff picture is looking. Only a half game separates the 8th and 11th seeds. The Trailblazers, who currently hold that 8th seed. And if, they stay there, which I think, honestly, that's, everyone's favorite to notch that 8 seed when it's all said and done. If they lock that in, the Lakers have a world of troubles. If they're not able to keep up with a Denver Nuggets a summer league roster team, then what are they going to do against a team that consists of Damian Lillard, a red-hot Carmelo Anthony, and everyone forgets about a CJ McCollum, who I can't really stand right now because he decides to play defense in the times that are like the most important of the game. And last year when the Nuggets were about to win that series, he had that chase down block on Jamal Murray. And I don't know why CJ out of all the times you decide to play defense. It's in that game.
You can't forget about Gary Trent Jr. Him and
all
as well as MPJ have been like some of the biggest stories out of the bubble, honestly.
All day. And Gary Trent, who he knocks down some ridiculous shots, man. Some real ridiculous shots. So he's definitely a big complimentary piece to a team that
can shoot the three.
It can shoot the three for sure. We're going to take another break here, though. This is Sports with Staxxx and Shaggy coming up. Got some football coming up, man. We're going to comment on our thoughts of what a football can be from changing from fall to spring. That's next. Sports with Staxxx and Shaggy.
Go Mile High, your college radio for sports, movies, and games. Run by students, for students, and more.
Let's see what they can do here from the 5.
Sports news, live games, and discussions about just about everything.
Disney turning their rides in their parks into movies.
So close so many times, and to have that snatched away.
Come and join us every day for your favorite shows, only at GoMileHigh.com.
If you have ever dreamed about being on TV or the radio, listen up. Start your broadcasting career today at the Colorado Media School. You'll have the opportunity to work with and learn from actual on-air talent that work within the Colorado media. Within a few months, you'll know how to engineer, produce, and even host your own TV/radio show. I'm a current graduate, and let me tell you, the Colorado Media School has given me opportunities and internships that have helped me take my career to the next level. So apply today at the Colorado Media School, located at 404 South Uppan Street in Lakewood, or visit us at coloradomediaschool.org.
Colorado Media School, hands-on learning in one of the most exciting career fields out there. Internship opportunities are limitless. We have 3 on-campus radio stations, 2 TV stations, and you'll have the opportunity to participate in projects like doing play-by-play live from the sporting event or the 48-hour film project. We have after-graduation career placement assistance and financial aid for those who qualify. Check us out online at coloradomediaschool.com, on Facebook and Instagram, and CO Media School on Twitter and Snapchat. You can also call 303-937-7070.
At Chewy's, weekdays from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Fully loaded nacho car.
Nacho car?
Yeah, that's right. And it's free. You'll get chips, salsa, queso, taco, meat, and more. And don't forget to pair it with one of the signature margaritas. Only at Chewy's. Tex-Mex done right. Must be 21. Find a location near you at chewy's.com. Hurry in. 7 p.m. The trunk closes.
So I'm taking a trip over to Tibet, you know, see the sights, climb a hill or two. But I remember, oh man, I got one guy out here who I actually know. So I give an old ringy-dingy to the Lama. What? You know, the Dalai Lama, his laminescence, flowing robes, the grace, bald, striking really. I says to the Lama, hey, you remember that round I caddied for you down in Shangri-La? Well, apparently some station out in Lakewood taped the whole thing. See, the Lama's a big hitter. Nailed 2 eagles in a row that day. Well, he says, what station could have possibly gotten all the way out to my sacred holy lands, the Shangri? I says it was none other than GoMileHigh.com. Llama. They got the best sports coverage in the state. The Llama actually tips me this time, 2-1. So he pretty much stiffed me again. But I got him hooked on GoMileHigh.com. So I got that going for me, which is nice.
That's great.
GoMileHigh.com.
This attacks older people very viciously, by the way. It can be if it's the wrong person. But, you know, these football players are very young, strong people. And physically, I mean, they're physically in extraordinary shape. So they're not going to have a problem. You're not going to see people, you know, could it happen? But I doubt it. You're not going to see people dying. And many people get it, and they have, like kids, they get it, they have the sniffles. Young kids, almost none have a serious problem with it. I mean, literally, you look, I think they said the state of California, almost nobody that's young had zero, had a problem with, meaning a serious problem with this disease. I mean, they get better very quickly if they get it at all. So I think football's making a tragic mistake.
Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
I'm sorry? What did
You're
you
just
say?
coming off stupid.
And that's, I couldn't put in any better words.
Just shut your mouth, Donald.
That was.
We all know what we all know what we think about you. You're an idiot.
That was Donald Trump. I guess I don't know how would we credit him any
Clay
better
Travis,
than that. Any better
Travis
than no.
Fox Sports
No.
Radio.
I knew that. But I didn't want to give him too good of an introduction. Too good of a credibility, I guess, on that sound.
Well, here's what we could say about him. He does not know what he's talking about at all. When does he know what he's talking about?
You already know that without anyone telling you.
I do some. I mean, 1 in every 4 Americans is stupid.
Yeah, well, I don't know. He might be that 25% just in himself.
Oh, he's that 25%, and yeah.
No, that was Donald Trump though commenting on, the collegiate sports closing down shop for the 2020 season. I wouldn't say entirely closing down shop. There's been some speculation and actually some programs moving forward with the idea that some, sports could be played in the spring. Conferences like the Pac-12 and Big Ten have been some of those conferences of note that have put the national media just surrounding them and just not talking about them nonstop. Some of these teams like Ohio State, if they're not playing this year, what does that do to the playoff picture, to the bracket? You have these teams who are always, year in and year out in the top 25. I know you have one of your Nebraska squads. They're not really a top 25 team, but they're in there and they're not going to play.
So Nebraska last year was ranked in the top 25 in the preseason rankings, but obviously that fell off.
Preseason rankings.
Well, it's sad actually is we lost our rankings when they lost to CU on that comeback. So CU came back 24-0, and that's what made us lose our rankings. We would have moved up in the rankings probably to mid-20s, but dang it, CU.
No, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see those rankings improve this year because the season is more than likely canceled. Now, some teams like Oklahoma, OU, have revitalized the schedule, and they posted on their Instagram. And you were talking. Me and you were talking in between the break, and we were looking over the schedule. I didn't get as much time on that schedule as you did. And just to give everyone an idea what this revitalized schedule would look like for a team like Oklahoma University, share that with us, Jake.
So they would start off their games against Division II school, which I can't figure out the name for the school, but then they would go on to play against Northwest. Then they go on to play Iowa State, then Texas, then TCU, then Texas Tech, then KU, and then Ohio State University, and then West Virginia, and then finishing off the year with their rival Baylor. So they got some Big Ten schools in there. The Northwestern, Nittany Lions, not the Nittany Lions, but Northwestern, they are a Big Ten team, and as well as Iowa State, they are a Big Ten team. So it seems like these schools that are in the Big Ten or are in these other Power 5 conferences that shut down like the Pac-12 or the Big Ten want to move and get these games going, because a lot of these schools have the money to be able to afford a season. They're only going to be losing their TV ratings, but I don't see a reason why they wouldn't want to air the TV games, these games on Big Ten Network, or air them in general.
You know, Oklahoma is one of those teams that still wants to play, and there's teams in their conference that have a vice versa thought. They didn't really think playing is the best solution right now. So, you know, if a team like Oklahoma, a team that wants to play, and, you know, there's teams in that conference that don't really feel like moving forward, could we see a team like Oklahoma playing a lot of out-of-conference scheduled games throughout the season, which it could be likely. It could be very likely, because Oklahoma is one of those teams that you see a lot of NFL products come. And, man, coming up in the 2020 draft, how it keeps bringing up that question, how are these scouts going to get that scouting in? And
if you look at how you evaluate players will be different if there's no season. You have to go back and evaluate them prior to this season, obviously, but the kids who would have been first-time starters, kids coming off an injury, coming off a year they were a nickelback, they were a key reserve, special teams, this was going to be their year, which means you have to talk to the coaches, position coaches at those schools, say, hey, who are some of those guys, or nobody else knows, who are ready to emerge, that we haven't seen on the field because we weren't able to see them play this year, that we should maybe take a chance, take that leap of faith on.
That was Mel Kiper on how the NFL and pro scouts could be moving forward with scouting if there is no collegiate sports this fall. And, you know, some of these guys we'll at least have them ready for the 2020 draft and the combine and all that.
Squirrel and I were talking on Inside the Huddle. What if there's a situation where these athletes and these agents for these athletes start getting Zoom calls set up, or, you know, press conferences set up where they're doing it all offline, where you're sending it in through Instagram or you're sending it in through Twitter, where you record yourself on Twitter or on Facebook Live and you send it in to these scouts being like, hey, here's my tape. Since you won't be able to see me live, here's what I can do.
It definitely is going to be a lot more of a process for these scouts. It's going to be a way harder process, just because now you're having a lot of these third parties you're going to have to deal with. You're, you know, and trying to find out if, you know, a player is who he says he is or how he plays. You know, you don't have as much tape as you'd like. You have to go and ask his coaches, like as Mel Kiper was saying, ask a bunch of different coaches. Are these the guys, you know, which guys on your squad are, you know, ready for, you know, the stage, ready for the next level, which kind of is, it could be turned into like a biased thing. You know how the coach-player relationships play off sometimes, and, you know, are some guys who are usually, you know, slept on draft picks going to feel a downfall because there's not actual traditional scouting going on.
Another thing that's going to be weird about it, I mean, I'm going to relate to a personal level. When you think, you know, when you text a girl, what do you rather do? Would you rather text her or would you rather talk to her in person? I'm pretty sure these, you know, scouts are thinking the same thing when I'm texting and when I'm calling these, you know, these NFL prospects. I can only get so much from them compared to when I meet him in person, to when I shake the dude's hand, when I can talk to his family, when I can see what he wants, what he's about, what are his life goals, what are his ambitions. You can only learn so much from a text message. You can only learn so much from a 20-minute Zoom call compared to actually meeting the man in person and actually, you know, talking to the man and his family or his kids or his wife and seeing what he actually has for his goals and his ambitions.
This is Sports with Staxxx and Shaggy on GoMileHigh.com, part of the Be On Air network. You could get at us at 303-937-6548. Get at us at our hotline, and you can find us at Go Mile High on Twitter. My man Jake _Shadler, you can find him on Twitter. That's his handle. You can find me, Amato _ is balling at Twitter. We're talking about the Pac-12 and Big Ten and what could be the upcoming solution. And one of those solutions could probably be maybe an XFL return. I don't know. Could some of these, you said woohoo. You're excited for that? You know, XFL was fun, just didn't really have the best product. But I think it's a scenario where college football players can benefit from Andrew Luck's dad, the commissioner of the XFL, whoever the hell runs the XFL, Mr. McMahon, Vince McMahon, you know,
now it's
can benefit
Dwayne
from
The Rock Johnson.
Whatever. This is a win-win situation, and it's unfortunate that it comes down to this. But, you know, if there's no collegiate sports, you bring the XFL in, use it as what we've been saying all week, as a developmental league for the NFL, or, you know, in this case, just for the time being.
And think about this. You're a senior coming out of high school. What would you rather do? Would you rather go to the XFL for 1 to 2 to 3 years, make some money, and then try to get into the NFL, or would you rather go to college and then have a possibility of getting hurt and then never making it to the NFL? You're guaranteed a check in the XFL. You're guaranteed money. Yes, you get the education, but a lot of these players, when they come out, you're trying to get the money. You're trying to get paid. You're trying to get those, follow where the money is. You got to follow the money.
That's when, like, the dark world of decision-making comes in because, yes, you can have – what would you say a XFL contract is approximately? Do you have detail on that? Let's say $100K. Say $100K. You're a freshman kid coming, or a senior out of high school. You got college scholarships on the table for you, but you want to make money right away. So you take the XFL route. All right, get that $100K. It doesn't work out. Well, now your college is out the window. You don't really have a backup career to fall on. Maybe you could go back. Who knows? But still, I just feel like what is bad is I don't want the XFL to start taking advantage of young kids, trying to, sell them a better direction when I think obviously going the college route is a better way. Just the NCAA is just so misconstrued and has this plantation type mindset.
So you asked how much these XFL players make. They make an average salary between $43,000 and $66,000 a year. They start off with a base salary of $27,000. Then it starts every game at $16,000, and they win their money back as they win. So there is about a $5,000 cash pool prize for the winning team. So you win as you go on. So the more you win in the XFL, the more you make as a player. Okay. So it gives you incentive to be like, hey, if I'm playing good in this league, I'm getting paid more. I'm going to give good product. It's a win-win situation for the players.
As a young player, though, going in that, you just I would say just have a good head on your shoulders going that, because that's something that, and you get a career-threatening injury, and you're playing on a team that's only paying you what? What'd you say the minimum was? $30,000?
$43,000.
And now, that wipes away the opportunity for you to even think of going the route, the college route. It wipes away every opportunity you had. And this is Sports with Staxxx and Shaggy.
Jill, why don't you tell the class what you did this weekend?
Well, my dad and I went in search of some magical minnows and found a zillion of them in the stream from our lookout rock. Then my sister and I escaped from an evil slug king and went back to my super twig fort for safety. Then we told stories till it got dark, and the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Where were you, Jill?
We went to the forest. It's not that far away.
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
It's back. The $12.99 buy one, get one, only at Olive Garden. Try our creamy fettuccine Alfredo, hearty spaghetti with meat sauce, or our melty 5-cheese baked ziti. While you're at it, make sure you take a second entree home. With so many choices, how can you go wrong? And don't forget about our endless salads and warm breadsticks. Order online or find one of our convenient locations near you. Olive Garden. When you're here, your family. Your summer just got hotter with the $4.99 unlimited buffet at Pizza Hut. That's right, all of your Pizza Hut favorites for only $4.99. Monday through Friday for lunch, and Tuesday night, dive into limitless pizzas, pastas, salads, breadsticks, and desserts. All hot, fresh, and ready for you when you are. So much good food for so little money makes satisfying that Pizza Hut craving so easy. The $4.99 Pizza Hut never-ending buffet, all at a great price and ready for you today. Make it great at Pizza Hut.
There's a side of aloha with every meal at L&L Hawaiian Barbecue. A unique style of Hawaiian place with 2 scoops of rice and a creamy macaroni salad. Tastes delicious for the whole family. Join our Ohana or come party with catering. You get the goods like recipe books, hats, and gift cards. Come to our 2 convenient locations in Aurora or one in the Springs. Or you can order online at HawaiianBarbecue.com. L&L Hawaiian Barbecue. Come on in to the Cacharas River Bed and Breakfast for an inviting and relaxing retreat in the southwestern Colorado Mountains. Whether you're kicking up your feet in the comfy day room or sipping on cocktails down by the river, you're sure to have a great time. Enjoy fishing, hiking, and hunting, all with the comforts of walk-in showers
private balconies overlooking the beautiful Cacharas River and valley, and breakfast cooked fresh daily by the loving hands of the owner, Galen Smith. If you get hungry in the afternoon or evening, grab a cold one, good company, and grill out on the deck. Or you can come stay at the famous Dog Bar and Grill, just a stone's throw from the B&B. Book your room now at CacharasRiverBnB.com. That's CUCHARAS RiverBnB.com. Cacharas River Bed and Breakfast. Tell them Arthur sent you.
All right, you get to talk when you want to now.
Hey, man, Wednesday, a great day, having fun. I'm kind of hot in here, man. It's real sweaty.
Man,
real sweaty.
You can't turn on the dang heat in here, because if they turn on the heat in here or they put on the AC in here, we're going to hear the fans through our microphone. So it's like a lose-lose for us, but at the same time, it's a win-win because we get to talk about sports.
And you know what? You know how cool I wish I was right now? Because I'm sweating. I'm hot. I wish I was as cool as the Denver Nuggets, because they've seemed to cool all the way down. Clippers right now, a 7-point lead. The Nuggets were up by 8. It's been a 19-point turnaround. Or, no, I don't know. I'm not phenomenal with math. But you just know that we're not winning, and that's because we are playing not the best, like manure, in a lack of a better term. But before the break, we were talking a little bit about, college football, the Pac-12, Big Ten closing, and what's the solution for college prospects and for NFL scouts, how they could get, all the details on that. And before we went, you had a little bit of a commentary that we weren't able to get to.
So I wanted to say is, you don't spend $15 million on a league without a plan. You don't buy something worth more than a couple $1,000s without a plan. When you go buy a laptop, you obviously build out a plan. Or when you go buy something of technology, when you go buy your phone, you don't just go willy-nilly go buy a phone. You plan it out. You see what you want to have. You want the S9. You want the iPhone 11. Or when you buy a computer, do you want a Mac 10? Do you want an HP? You don't just go willy-nilly go and buy it. Rock had a plan. He had something in place, knowing that things were going to happen. Things were going to come up. That possibly, tests were going to have positive. The NCAA may not happen. He knew possibly these all were possible variables. So for the XFL, this is the perfect time for them to take over for NCAA and take up as the supplemental league for the NFL. And not only that, but start paying these players the payments that they deserve to be played. And not only that, but start getting them sponsorships and start letting them make money off autographs. Johnny Manziel got suspended half a game for trying to make money off autographs. I mean, some of these college kids can't even afford, ramen, can't afford anything. I mean, unless you're blessed by having your parents be able to take care of you. Some of these kids don't have that blessing. You go there and you're going to gain a freshman 15 off of ramen. You need that extra support. So I wouldn't be surprised if I saw players, because I would go to the XFL, try to get the money, and then worry about your college athlete. You can get your college degree later. I'm trying to get my money. I'm following where the money's at.
Yeah, and that seems like it's the new trend. Guys are trying, and you see it in the NBA. Kids and players, they're trying to avoid the NCAA. Seems like more than they ever have. Guys are making the jump from high school to overseas, and it's not because it's I wouldn't say a competition aspect into it. Yeah, you're playing grown men overseas, but I honestly think college basketball or football would have a better talent to offer when you're playing.
And we were talking about this yesterday. All four other league, or all of the four major leagues, football's the only one that doesn't have a supplemental, league. The NBA has the G League. The NHL has its multiple leagues. The MLB has its leagues. The NFL doesn't have it. The only thing that the NFL has to supplement its players into the league is college football, and none of these players are getting paid. When you play in the G League, you're getting paid. When you play in these supplemental leagues, you're still getting paid. You may not be getting paid the big bucks, but you're still getting paid. You can still support your family. You can still sustain a life while still playing basketball, your dream.
And the day that the NFL does make its developmental league. I could promise you the higher ups of the NCAA are going to be crying in their hands because so many kids are going to be making that jump. Why would you want to go to a institution that's pretty much going to take advantage of your name, a name you can't even make off of? And when you got opportunities to take this route, just, there's this guy in the NBA, Jalen Green, a young 18-year-old. He went from high school. Now he's going to go to the NBA G League, going the NBA G League pathway, about to make $500,000 at 18 years old, and which can also, he can still get scouted there as well, make the jump to the NBA, and now you can put in the scenario now if the NFL gets their developmental league going, you can see a lot of these young kids making that jump, making the similar jump that Jalen Green has, and honestly, you're going to see a lot of more NBA young stars coming up making that same jump.
And a year and a half ago, California legalized to allow NCAA or universities to pay their student athletes, which, more or less means they're football players. So if you're a football player coming out of high school your senior year, where are you going to go? Are you going to go to CU where you're not going to get played, possibly tear your ACL, and you have this injury that you're going to be crying about for the rest of your life? I could have made it to the majors if I didn't do this to my leg. Or you're going to go to Stanford. You get to play in Northern California. It's a beautiful place. You go to UCLA. You get to play in Southern California. Same with USC. These are beautiful campuses, and you get to make money while playing football there, and you're by the beach. That just seems like a win-win-win for the players. It seems like in the next couple of years, California is going to have the best recruiting teams.
It's a win-win.
And I have been doing recruiting the last couple of years. We love our college recruiting, and I wouldn't be surprised in the next couple of years if we see Cal, UCLA, Stanford, USC, San Diego State, all at the top for recruiting. Maybe not San Diego State. That's a little bit of a stretch. But those other schools that I said, they're all in the Power 5 conferences.
It could be a win-win, but it could be a lose-lose. You never know what the future holds for this, with this pandemic going on, all chaos. Speaking of chaos, switch this over to the professional level. But Anthony Lynn had some comments on last night's Hard Knocks talking about this chaotic pandemic.
Fellas, this year is not like any year we've had in the National Football League. There's going to be chaos, and it's going to be change, and it's going to come every single day. The goals, the objectives will not change. I can't promise you're not going to get infected. I'm saying I got infected. I've talked to some people that say they're sick of this virus. I'm like, what the hell is that supposed to mean? Let me tell you something. You ain't promised next year. You ain't promised tomorrow. What I want to do is I want to limit your exposures. But then when that damn whistle blow, let's go kick somebody's ass and play some football. One team.
And that's Anthony Lynn on last night's Hard Knocks. Anthony Lynn, the guy who the Broncos chose to hire, I think, Vance Joseph over. I'm going to say over him, but they could have drafted Anthony Lynn.
The crazy thing is Anthony Lynn's a former Bronco. The guy used to play for the Broncos.
Bro, and then Anthony Lynn, just watching that, I didn't watch the whole Hard Knocks last night. I didn't even watch it last night. I actually caught what they posted on NFL Films. I didn't know they post full episodes on the NFL Films YouTube channel, but they do. And I was catching it, and just the attitude Anthony Lynn brings, man, you could tell that his players just they feel the energy he brings, man. You could tell he's a former player. He's a player's coach, obviously. He knows what it's like to be in the locker room. He knows what it's like to be a young football player. And, these are through virtual Zoom calls. And some of these players, Chris Harris Jr., former Bronco, one of these guys, I wouldn't, say pump, but you could tell that they were paying attention word for word. I mean, you had to have a lot of respect for a guy who's going to come out and tell you, hey, man, we got a worldwide threatening pandemic, but it's going to be chaos, and you're just going to have to deal with it. Be a dog. And that's pretty much what he's saying. Be a dog. We got a job at task in front of us. Let's go handle it.
And you hit the hammer right on the head there. He is a player's coach. Players love to play for him. They started off very weak in 2017, but since then, he finished that year on I think it was 9-3 slate. 2018, we all know they went 12-4. Last year they had their struggles because of offensive line problems. That is a strong team in the AFC West. That AFC West has some dogs in there, coaching wise, quarterback wise, defensive wise. There are some dogs in that AFC West.
And it kind of worries me now because as a Bronco fan, and you have Patrick Mahomes getting locked in for the next decade at KC. You got the Chargers, who now have probably arguably the best secondary in the NFL on paper. We haven't seen them yet as a unit yet on the field.
Richard Sherman, it was Richard Sherman said that they're the best secondary, and Chad Ochocinco both said that they're the best secondary.
We haven't seen them on paper. They are. We haven't seen them yet. So you know what I mean? We know.
In Madden, they look good, right?
On paper. Look, now, and after watching Hard Knocks last night, to see the kind of leadership that they have with a coach like Anthony Lynn, that's a coach you would want leading your team. That's like a Super Bowl winning characteristic. Anthony Lynn, who I'm scared to play that because now he was a defender. He was a defenseman back in his day. Come on now, he has the personnel on his defense to execute whatever he wants to do. You don't have the best offense. You don't have the best offensive personnel. Maybe Keenan Allen.
And Mike Williams. You got Austin Eckler.
I'll put Austin Eckler over Mike Williams. Mike Williams don't got a quarterback, if you didn't hear about that over the offseason. He got Tyrod Taylor.
I'm not arguing on that. The Chargers don't got a quarterback. I'm not arguing on that one.
But I don't think if the Broncos could carry a washed-up Peyton Manning to a Super Bowl, I'm pretty sure this Chargers defense could carry a Tyrod Taylor who's in his early 30s. And
can't throw the ball very accurately past 20 yards down the field.
Hey, but have you seen his touchdown to interception ratio? Like, it's arguably probably the best in NFL history.
Because he doesn't take risks.
But you got to take care of that ball, though. Hey, Tyrod Taylor's the definition of a guy who's going to take 3 over 7. Hey, man, good drive, but no, I'm good on let me take the field goal. That's all I want.
I'll take the field goal.
I'll take the field goal. It's all right. You know what I'm saying? No, he's the type of guy that gets his first kiss on like the 5th date.
Yeah,
very conservative. Very conservative. Hey, now we're gonna take a break though. Come back to y'all. It's middle of the week. Evergreen. We're gonna come back to you. This is Staxxx and Shaggy.
Save up to 75% off on apparel, footwear, fan gear, and more. With free shipping of online orders over $49, you can't beat these deals. DickSportingGoods.com has your fitness set up for the new year. That was online at DickSportingGoods.com. Stop by. Y'all ready for this?
Hey Colorado sports fans, you're listening to GoMileHigh.com, a student-operated station live from the Colorado Media School studios here in Belmar, giving you a different perspective on all things current.
Stop torturing yourself, man. Live in the now.
So stay tuned to see what's coming up next on GoMileHigh.com, Colorado's sports lifestyle.
Showing.
Every day, across this country, hundreds of college radio stations take to the air, broadcasting music and programming that you won't hear anywhere else.
It's one of the last places where people can really be able to actually say what they want to say.
Without it, you wouldn't have a place for local artists to perform. Certain people need to have a chance, a fighting chance, and college radio is that place for it.
College radio changes the lives of those who are involved with it and can change those who listen to it too.
This is where we start out, from getting all this great experience working in college radio. It makes you want to work in real radio.
College radio means finding yourself. It helped me find what I wanted to do in not only school, but in life.
So support college radio by continuing to listen to this station and supporting the students who make it happen. College radio, now, more than ever. A message brought to you by this station and the College Radio Foundation. For more information, please visit collegeradio.org.
A side of aloha with every meal at L&L Hawaiian Barbecue. A unique style of Hawaiian place with 2 scoops of rice and a cream macaroni salad. Tastes delicious for the whole family. Join our ohana or come party with catering and get the goods like recipe books, hats, and gift cards. Come to our 2 convenient locations in Aurora or one in the Springs. Or you can order online at HawaiianBarbecue.com. L&L Hawaiian Barbecue.
Colorado Media School, hands-on learning in one of the most exciting career fields out there. Internship opportunities are limitless. We have 3 on-campus radio stations, 2 TV stations, and you'll have the opportunity to participate in projects like doing play-by-play live from a sporting event or the 48-hour film project. We have after-graduation career placement assistance and financial aid for those who qualify. Check us out online at coloradomediaschool.com, on Facebook and Instagram, and CO Media School on Twitter and Snapchat. You can also call 303-937-7070.
Thirty seconds. I'm on right now. I don't believe you.
Ooh, man, back at it, bringing it to you with the heat. Sports with Staxxx and Shaggy Wednesday. We're heading into the fourth quarter right now, another close game, and this is going to answer our question from earlier in the show. Is Mike Malone going to start these, or is he going to sit these starters, or is he going to ride with the bench? Or is he going to sit the starters, or is he going to play them? I just asked two of the same questions against each other.
It's all right. I knew what you meant, but
hey,
my
grandpa always said, take a Latino for what he meant, not what he said. You know what I'm saying?
I get that.
Go on. What was you saying?
Well,
Jake?
I'm saying, I want to see the Nuggets bench players out there. I want to see what Bull. I want to see what Troy Daniels. I want to see what PJ Rozier. I want to see what Mason Plumlee. I want to see what these bench players can do against arguably the second best team in the Western Conference, or arguably a top 3 team in the whole NBA. I want to see what these bench players can do. We all know what they can do against the Lakers. Well, I want to see what they can do against the starters for the Clippers.
Yeah, we haven't gotten that dose of seeing the Nuggets action. Well, besides the Utah game where we went a double overtime, 1-2. Other than that game, OKC too. There hasn't been too many games though of teams that I want to see. Like, yeah, you want to play Portland and Utah down the stretch, but is that because Michael Malone's holding a grudge against those guys? Does he realize those guys are in our division and we want to beat those guys as badly as possible year in and year out? Now, division rivals are not like the NFL where you play them, twice a year and you got those games circled. I mean, you probably have a couple games circled against a few division rivals in the NBA, but you don't have every game circled. And so I think more of it was like a personal reason of why Malone played the starters in those games down the stretch. I would want to see him do the same thing of what he did in the Portland and in the OKC and Utah game.
I want to make sure that our bench is just ready to play when the Nuggets have to play in the playoffs. When the Nuggets do have to play, the Nuggets are going to have to play either OKC, Utah, or not Rockets. Now Rockets got
no. So now the Rockets and OKC, actually, this just came out. Rockets and OKC they're set up to play.
So it's a lock.
Yeah. So since the Thunder will face
either the Mavericks or Utah, then.
Yeah, the Thunder will face the Rockets in the first round after tonight's win versus the Heat. So like you said, we'll either play the
Nuggets will
Mavs
either play the
Utah.
Mavs or the
Jazz. And so I mean,
the better matchup right there has got to be the Mavs. Then
I'm taking the Mavs. I'm taking the Mavs. I'd rather play the Mavs.
I think any Denver fan would want to play the Mavs. You look at it, Utah gave the Nuggets a run for their money all the way down to the very last shot.
Not just that, Utah hates the Nuggets as much as the Nuggets hate the Jazz. As we were saying, division rivals in the NBA are not like the NFL, but if you
some of them are.
Some are. I think more conference rivals are more relevant when it comes to basketball for sure. But when in the case of Utah and Denver, if you're a big Nugget fan like me and you are following that team, you know that Utah is one of those guys who are in our region. We have good competitions with them year in and year out, good games with them. They know our strategy. They're familiar with it probably way more than the Mavericks would be. You saw when Rudy Gobert fouled out in that double overtime game, it kind of gave the Nuggets that advantage. I think if Rudy Gobert doesn't foul out, the Nuggets may lose that game. They just might, because Gobert was causing problems down low in the interior. And I just would definitely play the Mavericks over Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert-led team.
He was, and the Nuggets have had many, many battles against the Utah Jazz in the playoffs, many of which have been legendary. Anyone that you would like to point out as, some legendary Nuggets, playoff performances, or Avs playoff performances, or Rockies, or some Broncos playoff performances, anything?
And well, I want to point out probably not just the performance, but the series altogether. Just the Nuggets, when they made history back in the mid-'90s, Mutombo, and they became the first team to ever beat a first seed as an 8 seed. They beat the Seattle Supersonics, a team who had won 60-plus games, and they became the first team to do that. So it was the 94 playoffs. The Nuggets were seeded the 8th and were tasked at facing the top-seeded Seattle Supersonics. But until that point, I don't think any 8 seed had beaten a number 1.
That was the first 8th seed. I actually pulled that up. That's the first 8th seed to knock off the number 1 in the Western Conference.
And it was May 7th, the Nuggets had defeated the Seattle Supersonics 98-94 in the decisive Game 5 to advance in the next round. This is when you had to play 5 games. Instead of 7. Well, I think you played 7 games, but the first round was always
the first round was always 5.
Yeah.
Can you? That's just insane. Mutombo versus Gary Payton in the first round. How crazy is that? Man?
It was more like Mahoud Rauf Abdul versus Gary Payton and Mutombo versus Sean Kemp.
Yeah, I was thinking a star versus star. I was just, Billboard versus Billboard.
The Supersonics had like 3 2-stars on their squad. They had Dana Barros, Sean Kemp, Gary Payton. They had some names on that. They had Xavier I don't think Xavier McDaniel was there yet.
They did. But for my playoff performance, I want to take one off the Broncos, and I'm actually going to take one off of a way, way early one. And this is one that I actually never got to watch, but I've seen the game, and I know my parents, my aunt, my grandma, grandpa, everyone has told me about it. And I am going to take John Elway in 1986 when he did the drive against Cleveland.
Okay.
That, for me, solidifies clutch gene.
That's honestly before the Broncos won 2 Super Bowls. That was like the history of the Broncos and just all together.
That was the history of the Broncos, was choking in the regular season or choking in the playoffs.
But having an unbelievable drive at the end of the year against the Cleveland Browns. Beating them twice back to back.
And if you think about it, that's what put John Elway on the map. I mean, before then, John Elway, yes, he was known in the Denver metro region, but outside of that, really, the NFL looked at him as like probably, just another quarterback that took a good quarterback in college that got took to the NFL that was never really great. That really put him on the map and really showed the rest of the NFL like, hey, this guy's here to stay, and this guy's legit. This guy can win at any point. I mean, he had spots early in his career against the Indianapolis Colts, coming back, 19-0, throwing 3 touchdowns his rookie year, winning that game 21-19. But that was really the one that put John Elway on the map and really showed the rest of the NFL and showed the rest of the world, hey, this is the clutchest quarterback in the NFL right now.
I think Elway had a target on his back since the day he got drafted. You come in arrogant, well, at least how everyone saw him, as arrogant. You don't want to go play for the team that drafted you. All right, punk. Well, everyone's going to come for your throat when we tackle, So I think it didn't yes, to your point, that game in Cleveland put him on the map as one of the clutchest players. But I think before even that, he had a target on him. Like, not just
he had
teams,
a target on
but
his back
fan
for
bases.
a diva. He was a diva, the same way we look at probably like a Philip Rivers or something, someone that,
But John Elway won. And he might have lost like 3 Super Bowls, but he was able to get there.
And not only that, but he took teams to the Super Bowl that had no business being in those Super Bowls. And they played against 3 legendary, if not, the 89 49ers are one of the best teams in NFL history, and they beat the Broncos 55.
What's that? At the right place at the wrong time. At the right place at the right time.
No, at the right place at the wrong time. That's what you meant to say.
No, the other one's at the right place at the right time. The Broncos were at the wrong place at the wrong time. They shouldn't have been in there, like you said. Because who is it they played? They played the Niners. They played
86. They played against the Giants.
Joe Gibbs, the Redskins, the Giants, like you said, and that's when the Giants were at the peak of their powers.
That's LT. That's LT. You got Marty Banks as well on there. You got a great defense, and as well, Phil Simms set the record for highest completion percentage in a Super Bowl in that game against the Broncos, which still holds to this day at 92%.
I only had 1 completion, 2 completions.
Yeah, 2 incompletions. I think he went 25 for 26. I'm gonna pull that up right now.
Yeah, all right. Let's get to some great playoff performances. This is starting to sound like terrible Super Bowl moments. Hold on.
I know.
Let's get it back to
we were talking about the drive, and you got to finish off what happened.
Let's bring it back. Hold on. Let's bring it back. No, we could save those terrible sorrows for another time.
Right, for our Trash Talk Tuesday.
Yeah, Are we gonna keep it in the Broncos, or do we want to switch it to a Nuggets, a playoff performer? Because I got a couple. I got a few for you. What do you want?
I got another Bronco, but I want to hear your Nugget.
You want to hear my nigga? All right, because I got some Broncos, and you might be the same one you're holding. But if it is, just share it.
All
right. But here, my other Nugget one is the Nuggets back in 2009 beating the Chris Paul-led New Orleans Hornets, and when they beat the New Orleans Hornets by an NBA record 58 points. 121-63. That was the 08-09 Nuggets, probably the best. I'm gonna say the best Nugget team in recent history. But if you're going by how far the team finished, and then they did go into the Western Conference Finals, finished 54-28.
Speaking of
Chauncey Melo on that team,
my parents actually got to go to one of those games in Denver.
08-09.
08-09. They got to watch Carmelo Anthony play against Kobe. I mean, you're obviously gonna be sad when Kobe beats the Nuggets, but
what I was sad.
Kobe,
you know what the saddest thing about that playoff series with the Lakers in Denver in 2009 is they canceled Monday Night Raw for a Nuggets game. I was so sad, bro. And now I would be pissed if they canceled the Nuggets game for a wrestling event. But as a 9-year-old kid or 10-year-old kid, however old I was, bro, it was so devastating. And what even devastated me even more is that they were mocking WWE on SportsCenter. Bro, I'm a completely different person from now because I don't know why I'm so corny when I was a kid. But, bro, I that's the only thing I remember.
Whenever I think it's weird. Whenever I think of WWE, I just think about that guy from South Park. That's not real wrestling.
It's still real to me, damn it.
It's still real to me.
Oh, man. All right. No, that's... Hey. Take it easy back there, man. Take it easy back there.
I'll unplug everything back there real quick.
No, but with that Nugget, that 121-63 victory they had back there, Melo had scored 26. Chauncey was leading alone with assists. He had 9 that night. Mr. Big Shot was putting on a show. I think dropped about 4 threes. That's when 4 threes meant you dropped 12 in a game. The 3-point enhancement has definitely changed the league today. Before we go, Jake, let me hear that Bronco playoff performance.
I'm actually going to go, and it kills me to say this. It really kills me to say this, but one of the greatest Broncos performances I've ever seen was Vaughn in that 2015 AFC Championship. He killed my man. He destroyed him all game.
You know what? We had a drinking game. We said not every time he got sacked, but every time Brady got hit, take a shot.
Yeah, you'd be messed up.
We was toe up from the floor up. This is Sports with Staxxx and Shaggy.
Your summer just got hotter with the $4.99 Unlimited Buffet at Pizza Hut. That's right, all of your Pizza Hut favorites for only $4.99. Monday through Friday for lunch, and Tuesday night, dive into limitless pizzas, pastas, salads, breadsticks, and desserts. All hot, fresh, and ready for you when you are. So much good food for so little money makes satisfying that Pizza Hut craving so easy. The $4.99 Pizza Hut never-ending buffet, all at a great price and ready for you today. Make it great at Pizza Hut.
So I'm taking a trip over to Tibet, see the sights, climb a hill or two. But I remember, oh man, I got one guy out here who I actually know. So I give an old ringy-dingy to the Lama.
What?
The Dalai Lama, his laminescence, flowing robes, the grace, bald, striking really. I says to the Lama, hey, you remember that round I caddied for you down in Shangri-La? Well, apparently some station out in Lakewood taped the whole thing. See, the Lama's a big hitter. Nailed 2 eagles in a row that day. Well, he says, what station could have possibly gotten all the way out to my sacred holy lands, the Shangri? I says it was none other than GoMileHigh.com, Lama. They got the best sports coverage in the state. The Lama actually tips me this time, 2-1. So he pretty much stiffed me again, but I got him hooked on GoMileHigh.com, so I got that going for me, which is nice.
That's great.
GoMileHigh.com.
Every day, across this country, hundreds of college radio stations take to the air, broadcasting music and programming that you won't hear anywhere else.
It's one of the last places where people can really be able to actually say what they want to say.
Without it, you wouldn't have a place for local artists to perform. Certain people need to have a chance, a fighting chance, and college radio is that place for it.
College radio changes the lives of those who are involved with it and can change those who listen to it too.
This is where we start out, from getting all this great experience working in college radio. It makes you want to work in real radio.
College radio means finding yourself. It helped me find what I wanted to do in not only school but in life.
So support college radio by continuing to listen to this station and supporting the students who make it happen. College radio, now, more than ever. A message brought to you by this station and the College Radio Foundation. For more information, please visit collegeradio.org.
Shipping of online orders over $49, you can't beat these deals. Dick'sSportingGoods.com has your fitness set up for the new year. That was online at Dick'sSportingGoods.com. Stop by.
Probably our best. Hey man, probably our best segment that we've done so far before we went to break. That was fun. Hey, I had to throw.
I'm not gonna lie, I like our music segment. You can't say that those reacting to music and
No, all day. I had to throw one more playoff performance in there though, and we missed it. I'm surprised you missed it, but it was the 3-16 game by Tim Tebow back in 2011 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Tim Tebow threw for 316 yards. I mean, it just had the three referees were named after what? The three wise men?
Yep.
I don't know the names of the three wise men.
John, Matt, I don't know the third one. Whoever the unlucky third wise man is, I'm sorry.
My grandmother would slap the taste out of my mouth right now.
My grandma's listening too. She'd probably slap the taste out of my mouth too.
We're gonna have
sorry, Grandma Juanita.
We're gonna have to cut that out right there. No, man, that was fun though. But here to bring it back, the Nuggets right now only down. They should be winning. They're down by 6. Answering our question from earlier on the show, it looks like Mike Malone's going on with the route of sitting the starters. Jake, Shaggy, you're a big fan of that. I'm not saying I'm not a fan of it. When you're only a game and a half, or what I think it's a game behind the Clippers, the team you're playing tonight, and you're a game behind them in the playoff seeding, I think you would want to at least try to catch them as aggressively as you could. Sitting the starters is not how I would picture it, but Michael Malone, as we say, he does have he's looking at the big picture, does have plans for this team and health. If your team is unhealthy, those plans go out the window, so he's definitely trying to make sure that health is being preserved. And right now, just to keep up did you catch a sneeze back there? Are you good?
I got a little bit of a sniffle. I'm sorry. I'm allergic to the Nuggets, not winning. I'm allergic to some bullcrap.
Man, aren't we all, man? No, the Clippers duo of Paul George and Kawhi Leonard make up for 46 points tonight. They've played pretty much not the entire game, but they both played over 30-plus points. Lou Williams making his cameo known, hitting 20 points. Clippers got 3 players.
This is his first big game, really, since coming back from having some chicken wings, isn't it?
Chicken wings, yeah. I guess we all got to go get some chicken wings.
I heard that he tipped them chicken wings pretty well. I heard that they got a pretty nice, $5,000 tip. I'd say them chicken wings, left there pretty happy.
I didn't know chicken wings had G-strings. Nikola Jokic, who is 3 rebounds away from a triple-double.
No. Now,
Nikola Jokic is 3 rebounds away from a triple-double. And it's kind of funny because some of his recent games have been high points and high assists, but then the rebounds are low, which is kind of reversed of what you would expect.
Honestly, I think the only reason his rebounds are low is because if you watch that Portland Trailblazers game, he was giving a lot of those rebounds to MPJ.
Yeah.
He was giving a lot of those, he wasn't even hopping for a lot of them. He was just saying, like, here, MPJ, you get him. And even then, when Jamal Murray came back, he was giving Jamal some of those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so Jamal, Joker, and Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr., I think the only starter right now playing for the Nuggets. They might have sat him down. We'll get an update on that. But each one of them playing 25-plus minutes tonight, getting in double figures. Torrey Craig, a guy we've been critical on offensively as of late, got double digits. So good news for Torrey Craig.
Especially our executive producer, our man Josh, he was just critiquing him actually before the show.
Yeah, and, Torrey Craig, we'll just get into him. A great defender. Everyone needs a Torrey Craig on their team. Do they need a Torrey Craig on their team for 3 or 4 years? No.
Well, if MPJ can improve on his defense, I mean, that's going to go leaps and bounds for the Nuggets if MPJ can be the full package, play good D, be able to be, rim protect, be able to, go up and shoot the three, be able to, go up and drive. He really could be the complete package. We saw what Kevin Durant could do. We saw what Dirk could do. Those are his comparisons. If he is what he can live up to be, all the hype, Nuggets, the sky's the limit.
So the Nuggets, their lineup looking out there right now, playing Mason Plumlee with Bates Diop and PJ Dozier, along with Monte Morris and tonight's high scorer Jeremy Grant, who has 25 points. Big fan of Jeremy Grant. And
where's Bull? Where's the Bull sighting?
We might
I don't see any
him.
Bull sighting.
We might see him. Nuggets down by 8 with 4 minutes left in this one. I could see if Malone's not playing the starters, I highly doubt that he's not going to play Bobo. Bobo is going to get at least a 2-minute, 3-minute cameo down the stretch. You got to get that's your at least one of your future.
Bobo already has 7-8 points, I believe, in the game.
Let's see what he got. He got 7 points in 8 minutes. So that's efficiency right there. He's on track. So his per 36 is like 34 minutes per game, or 34 minutes. His per 36 is like 34 points per game.
That ain't bad.
So per 36 is, his statistics rated up if he were to be playing on 36 minutes per game on an average night.
Yeah, they rounded up
and then they rounded. Yeah, so very efficient. Got some rebound out there, but there have been sequences where the 7'2" big man has looked weak. The 7'2" big man has looked way smaller against 6'7" defenders. So. Bobo, he might be tall, but that getting some muscle on that scrawny frame is going to be a must and is a priority, I imagine, in this offseason.
So if the Nuggets, if you see a situation where the Nuggets get rid of Torrey Craig, who's going to be that one that's going to give those legitimate defensive minutes? You saw in that game against Portland, they were putting Monte Morris on him. They had a couple transitions where they were putting MPJ on Dame. Is there a situation where you see Monte Morris taking over that role? Because Monte Morris. No, they're having him on Dame. So who's a situation? Who could you see take over his role as the team's defender or as the team's marquee defender?
Right now, I think when you move with Torrey Craig his value is not running very high. Like I said, every team needs a Torrey Craig, but when I say every team needs a Torrey Craig, they need a guy who could just defend the ball. That's all they need. I'm not saying they need a guy who can defend the ball and not score. You need a guy who can defend the ball, and you don't need that guy for 5 years because guys who can play defense are replaceable. It's guys who can play defense and offense. Two-way players that are hard to find. Torrey Craig is not a two-way player. He doesn't really have even an average offensive game. So Torrey Craig is an easily replaceable player. Just like you said, who are you going to go to right now on the roster to replace him with? You have to go out, find someone in free agency, get someone probably in the draft. I think maybe right now.
Who on the roster, though? I mean, I'm going to say Monte Morris maybe, Jeremy Grant. I keep calling him Jakeem Grant. I got that dang Dolphins receiver stuck in my head.
I was leaning towards Jeremy Grant just because Jeremy Grant behind Monte Morris. Monte. You got me saying Monte Morris is a good defender now. No,
remember when I called Sean Monte Morris yesterday?
Gotta get in the blooper reel, man. No, Jeremy Grant though, behind Torrey Craig and Gary Harris is the team's best, part of the team's best perimeter defender. So I could see Jeremy Grant replacing Torrey Craig. Why would you have someone who already has a role on the team, a big role on the team, replace another player's role that is a completely different one? This is a case where I think if you're going to replace Torrey Craig, you got to go out and find someone new. You know, you have Gary Harris, who I guess you could give him more playing time, but as a late, before Gary's injury, was not very consistent, and it didn't seem like he was going to get any better year by year. It seemed like he had hit his peak. So I think right now keeping Torrey Craig is your best solution instead of replacing him. But as I said, he is replaceable for the near future. And, this is just another one of those guys, another one of those decisions that the Nuggets are going to have to make. Not another one. You have Paul Millsap, the offseason. I think you get rid of him. $30 million a year for a seasoned vet. Get him gone. Torrey Craig, is his contract? Yeah, I hope not. I hope not, because I still think
the contract years were Jeremy Grant, Mason Plumlee, and the last one, I believe it was PJ Rozier.
We're being critical on Torrey Craig, but I still think he can improve. If he can at least get an average offensive game, I think you can he could be like a Bruce Bowen on your team, a guy who can knock down the three and defend on the other side.
Would you say that if he can get his game to it, you would want to see him as a 3-and-D guy?
Yeah, if he could get his offensive game, if he could just be a better 3-point shooter, because he has what it takes. I'm watching MPJ Snapchat. I see Torrey Craig on there a lot. They work out together a lot. Most of the things they do is shooting drills. So hopefully Torrey Craig can improve that. Hey, man, this has been a great show. This is Sports with Staxxx and Shaggy. We're going to wrap this up. We're going to come back to you tomorrow. My man Shaggy will be hosting. I'll be behind the board. Hey, y'all have a great night. Be safe.
Catch us tomorrow, 8 to 9 on Go Mile High.